Hi, welcome back to Tele Sessions.
Today's session, we are going to look about payment voucher and receipt voucher. So in previous sessions, we have learned about how to post contra voucher, what is the purpose of contra entry and how it is created and why it is created. So in this session, we are continuing with the voucher types, and payment voucher and receipt voucher is the voucher which we are going to look into today's session. So I hope everybody is having an idea about what is payment voucher and what is receipt voucher. Because in the first session of the vouchers, we have already given a brief explanation about what these vouchers are. So we can check it in detail in today's session. Okay, so let's begin. So after today's session, we will be able to understand what is payment voucher and receipt voucher. We will be recording cash and bank payments, and then we will be recording cash and bank receipts as well, and we will understand how accounting impacts of receipts and payments. Okay, how our receipts and payments impact our accounting, and we will be verifying the transactions through reports. Okay, so all the transactions which we post today, we will be verifying it through various reports. So let's start. Yes. So here you can see payment voucher and receipt voucher. So these are the two major important accounting voucher types in Tally. All the other vouchers types are important, but especially payment voucher and receipt voucher is very, very important because this deals with money. Money in the sense money when it is going out or coming inside to in our business. So we will be using payment voucher and receipt voucher. So you can see here the core rule for using this payment voucher and receipt voucher is money going out versus money coming in. Okay. So money going out in that means the money which is in our hand, the cash or the bank balance which we are having in our business. Okay. So if it goes out of our company, so for example, if you are spending our money for something like some expenses, or if you're making a payment to one of our clients, okay, one of our suppliers. So in that case, we will be using payment voucher. So shortcut key is very, very important. Shortcut key is F5. Okay. Shortcut key for payment voucher is F5, and it is used when the money goes out from our business. Okay. And in the exact opposite case is the meaning for a receipt. So when it comes to receipt, it is used when the money comes into our business. Okay. So when we receive some income, when we receive amount from our customers, all those cases we will be using a receipt voucher to post the respective transaction. Okay. So shortcut key for receipt voucher is F6. So I always recommend using shortcut keys while posting the transaction because it makes your work very much easier. Instead of using your mouse and dragging it all the way to Tally and then clicking in the voucher types, always try to use the keyboard itself, use the shortcut keys, F6. Okay. And you can see here among the most frequently used vouchers in every business. So payment voucher and receipt voucher is the most frequently used voucher in every business. Okay. Sometimes the companies may not be having that much sales or purchase as compared to payment voucher and receipt voucher which they are using. Okay. So everything depends upon various nature of the business. Okay. So this is the purpose. This is the core role of payment voucher and receipt voucher. So money going out versus money coming in. That is payment versus receipt. F5 versus F6. Okay. So that is the use. That is the meaning of this payment voucher and receipt voucher. So if money goes out of from our hand, we have to use payment voucher. And if we are receiving money, if money comes towards our business, we have to use receipt voucher. You should not mix between this. Okay. So let us look in detail about payment voucher. Okay. So payment voucher is used when the business pays money. So when our business is giving out money, when money is going out from our hand or from our business, we use payment voucher. Okay. So these are the modes through which money goes outside. Okay. We pay the money. So it can be cash payment, it can be bank transfer, it can be UPI through UPI, it can be through check, or it can be online transactions. Okay. So these are the major methods by which money goes out from our business. Okay. So few examples we can see which is used for payment vouchers are rent paid. Okay. So if you are making a rent payment, so this is the transaction rent expense debit to cash or bank. So the rent is an expense. So we have to debit the expense and then we have to credit the mode which is going outside. Okay. So that is cash or bank. Okay. So the next one is electricity bill paid. So here also one expense is there, debit. We will debit the expense and then we will credit the cash or bank account. And finally, we have supplier payment. Supplier account we will be debiting and bank account or cash account we will be crediting. So the major important rule is whenever money leaves our business, we have to use payment voucher. So I am explaining it again and again. Whenever money goes out from our hand, okay, it is not depositing money to our own bank. It is we are giving out money. So money is going out from our hand to a third party. Okay. So we have to always remember this. If money goes out from our hand to a third person, okay, other than our business, okay, then we must use payment voucher F5 in Tally. Okay. So that is the meaning of payment voucher. Okay. So a few examples we can see recording expense. Okay. If you want to record expense payments, these are the two practical scenarios which I have shown. So first one is office rent paid. We are making payment of rent. Okay. So 15,000 is paid through bank account. So this is the journal entry. Okay, rent account expense, rent expense account debtor 15,000 to SBI bank account 15,000. So let us see how this is posted using Tally. Okay, so I will explain that. Before that, we can look at the steps. So first, what we have to do, we have to go to payment voucher. So in order to reach payment voucher, what is the process? From gateway of Tally, go to vouchers. Okay, press V for vouchers and then press F5 for payment. Okay. And there in the particulars column, we have to select the rent expense. And in the amount column, we have to mention 15,000. Then we can credit the bank account. So let us see how it is done here. Okay. So scenario one, office rent paid. So let me switch to Tally. So now we are in Tally. We can go and post the payment transaction. So in gateway of Tally, so this is gateway of Tally. There we can see vouchers. So instead of using the mouse, just press V. It will take us to the vouchers. And by default, it is taking us to payment. Okay. And if you cannot find payment over here, if it is contra or receipt, just press F5. Shortcut key is F5. You can see here in the right side. Payment is not highlighted because we are already in the payment voucher. Okay. So here we will debit. You can see in the particulars column, DR is showing here. So here we will be debiting rent expense. We will select it and then we will type 15,000. Okay, press enter and credit. We will be crediting our bank account. Okay, HDFC Bank. Or what is the bank ledger here? It is showing SBI bank account. Okay, SBI bank account is what in the question. So we have to select SBI. So here I am selecting SBI. So entirely I'm selecting SBI and 15,000. So this is the default method. Okay. This is the double entry method. This is the double entry mode where we are making payment using debit and credit. So Tally, yesterday I already explained, Tally has different modes. Okay. So single entry mode is there, multiple entry, double entry mode is there. So this is the double entry mode. If you want to post it in single entry, okay, there is an option here, change mode. Shortcut is Control plus H. So just select change mode option here and it will take you to the mode selection. So here you can see double entry and single entry. So whichever mode you are comfortable with, you can select that and then you can post the transaction. So here I am selecting single entry and you can see account and particulars is what it is showing here. So account means from which account you are making the payment. Okay, so here it is SBI. And particulars means for what kind of expense. So what kind of payment you are making. So since it is rent that we are making, we have to select rent expense. If you are making payment to a supplier or any other liability, we have to select that particular ledger. Okay. And another thing what I want you to look into is here we can see SBI is showing 30,000 CR, okay, 30,000 credit, and it is showing in red. Why is this case the case? This is because SBI is showing negative balance. This is the dummy data which we have created for the example. So that is why SBI does not have that much balance. Okay. So that is why it is showing as negative. Okay. But if you are working for an organization and if you are while posting, if you see red in any of the ledger, okay, in your cash ledger or bank ledger specifically, that means your entry is wrong. Okay, because this is negative balance. Red means negative balance. So this is wrong if you are working in a working environment, if you see red. Okay. So make sure you are going back to the particular ledger and you have posted all the transactions which you have done, or if you have not made any multiple transactions, okay, duplicate transactions. So all those cases will result in cash or bank account becoming negative. So make sure you are not making this, okay, mistake. So coming back to the voucher type, we are posting the transaction SBI rent. Okay, so we are making a rent payment. So this is the single entry mode. Now, if you want, you can continue with single entry mode, or if you don't want, you can go to change mode and go back to double entry again. Okay, it all depends upon the user. Okay, the user can decide which mode they want. Okay, so it is Tally is giving this option for the user so that they can select whichever it is easier for them. So I'm going with double entry mode itself. So I'm pressing enter. SBI. Now, if I press enter from here, it will take me to the transaction bank allocation screen. So this is the bank allocation screen where we have to input all the details related to this particular payment, how we are making this payment, whether we are making it through check payment, UPI payment, or bank transfers, all sorts of things. Okay? So this part we will be looking in detail in the upcoming session. So for now, I'm just skipping this Control plus A. Now you can, if you want, you can put the narration. Okay. So what is the narration here? We are giving the narration as rent paid. Okay. So rent paid. Enter. You can enter and you can save, or you can press Control A to save it. So I am saving this transaction. Enter. Okay. Now let us come back to the next scenario. Okay. So we have already posted the office rent paid using double entry mode. Now we can try posting electricity bill paid in single entry mode. Okay. So electricity bill paid, it is showing 3,000 is paid through cash. Okay. So we are debiting the electricity expense and we are crediting the cash account. So cash account 3,000, expense account also 3,000. Again, you can see the steps, same steps are there. Only the ledgers are different and the amount is different. Okay. So here I'm going to So here you can see account, it is showing it as cash. So if you are posting it in double entry mode, the account should be, if you are posting it in single entry mode, the account should be cash. If it is double entry mode, then you have to debit the electricity expense and credit the cash. So for this example, we will be using single entry mode to post the transaction. Okay. So coming back to Tally again. So here, first of all, you have to go to change mode. Control plus H is the shortcut key. You should never forget that. Control plus H. And here I'm coming to single entry. Okay, I'm selecting single entry mode here. And in the account, we have to select what? We have to select cash. Okay. So cash account. So here, what you can see, if you press spacebar, it will list out only the cash and bank accounts. Okay. So that is because it is asking us from which account we are making the payment. So no other ledger will be appearing here. Okay. That thing you have to be very careful. Okay. So no other ledger will be appearing in the account column of payment or receipt. Okay. Account column will always show bank account or cash account. Okay. So here I'm selecting cash. In the particulars column, if you select, it will list out all the other ledgers apart from the bank account and the cash account. Okay. All the other ledgers. Okay. So here, what is the expense? The expense was electricity charges. Okay. Electricity charges was the expense. So you can see here, the debit ledger we have to select was electricity charges, or the particulars we have to select as electricity expense. Okay. So electricity expense is what we have to select in the particulars column. So here we cannot find any electricity expense. So we have to create it. So you can either go to create option over here, or shortcut key is there. Always try to use the shortcut key Alt plus C. So if you press and hold Alt and if you select C, it will take you to the secondary creation, ledger creation secondary mode. So this is the secondary method of creation. Okay. So while posting the transaction, just press Alt C if you have not created a particular ledger. And if you want to create that from that exact screen itself, you can press Alt plus C and it will take you to the ledger creation screen. So this is a very much user-friendly option feature available in Tally, where if you cannot find a ledger, you can create it then and there. Okay. So here we are going to create electricity expense. Okay. Electricity expenses. So press enter. So what is the group? With the group also, I am saying it again and again. You must select the correct group while posting a transaction or creating a ledger. Okay. So while creating a ledger, it is very, very important to select the correct group. So if you select a different group, what will happen? It will affect your balance sheet and profit and loss account. Okay. So here electricity expense is an indirect expense. So I'm selecting indirect expenses and I'm saving this. Okay. GST and all those things we are not dealing with during this session. The upcoming session we will be learning on how to post using GST and all. Okay. So I'm saving this Control plus A. Now we are back in the accounting voucher creation screen in payment voucher single entry mode. Okay, so electricity expense is 3,000. So here you can see cash balance is showing as 35,000. Now if I am paying it through cash using 3,000 rupees, if I press enter, you can see 35,000 will become 32,000. So if I'm pressing enter, see it became 32,000 and electricity expenses is showing its current balance as 3,000. So 3,000 is the expense which we incurred for electricity charges and we are making the payment for that. Okay, so I'm pressing enter. In the narration column, we can mention electric charges paid. Okay, so press enter, enter. Okay, so we have created two payment transaction. So one is for rent paid and the other one is for electricity charges. Now let us see how we will be posting a payment entry for a supplier payment. Okay, if you are making a payment to a party. Okay. So you can see here supplier pay. So when do we make a payment to a party? We are making a payment to a supplier to settle our outstanding payable amounts. Okay, so outstanding payable in the sense if you purchase something from your supplier, okay. So you are purchasing it on credit. So that means at a later date you must pay back the amount. Okay, at that case you have to use payment voucher because cash is flowing out from your hand. Okay, so you are making a payment to a supplier or the third party. Okay, at that time you have to use payment voucher. We can see here the scenario is payment made to XYZ suppliers 25,000 through bank. Okay, so we are making the payment to XYZ suppliers. Okay, for example, let us assume that XYZ suppliers is our supplier and we are making a payment to suppliers to settle the outstanding amount. Okay. So let us go to payment voucher. So here in the account column, we have to select our bank account. So which bank it is saying? It is again asking us to select SBI Bank. So I'm selecting SBI Bank, SBI. So this negative balance, we don't have to worry about for now because this is the sample dummy data. When we start working on the real live data, we will be able to understand how it's done. Okay, for now, you just need to understand the concept. So here we are selecting SBI and we are making the payment to XYZ suppliers. So here we can see XYZ suppliers is not there. So we can create that supplier. So XYZ suppliers I'm selecting, I'm creating and I'm selecting the group. Which group should we create? Which group should we select for this supplier? So You should not confuse between debtors and creditors. For creating a supplier, it is sundry creditors. So selecting creditors, enter. So maintain balances bill by bill and all. For this example, I'm skipping that. And here next price of suppliers, what is the amount? 25,000. Press enter. And if you want to give the transaction type and all those things, you can do that. I am just skipping it for now and then saving this. Control A to save. So this is how we make a payment. Okay. So this is how payment is done to a supplier. So what will happen when we make a payment to a supplier? Okay. So if we are owing that particular supplier, what will happen? It will reduce the outstanding payable amount. Okay. So let us assume we purchased an item worth rupees 50,000 from this XYZ suppliers. Okay. And since we made a payment of 25,000, it will reduce the outstanding. Okay. It will become what? It will reduce from 50,000, it will reduce 25,000 and it will become 25,000 again. Okay. And then what will happen? Our bank balance decreases. Okay, since we made a payment to our supplier, our bank balance will reduce and supplier ledger will show reduced liability. So earlier we had to pay 50,000. Now since we made 25, we only need to pay the balance 25,000. So all those things will be shown here. So that is the meaning of this particular transaction.